Yeah, one time. Before I forget, I want to say a little something. I had an incident recently. Where I got tried. Here we go again. A ninja, a Ronald Duncan, a Grandmaster Ronald Duncan tried me. Right? Because of that, I couldn't do a lot of things. It wasn't really petty. It was more higher on the Escalado scale. I also had the Mr. Canelo fight. Bud Canelo fight. Right? Now, I'm going to just leave it there. Not go in detail about that. I'm going to say one thing though. We're going to talk about the anger, the righteous indignation that builds up in you once you identify the problem. And you know that this problem is an intentional problem. This is contrived. This is a construct, right? Still, and this is a business setting. This happens in a business setting. This happens a lot. Business is war. Now, what you want to do in times like this, right? What you want to do is you want to maintain. I talked about Cashapp Moran, 2011, which made him like 10 years old. At this point in the year, 2000, January, February, okay. Come 2011, early in the year, January and February, he should have just turned 10 in December. Trying to get this right. Your belly poking out on your pictures? Duty! Broly Game 007, capital B, capital G, check them out. YouTube. I told you about Cashapp Moran not maintaining his composure when he gets around the consular court. The consulars who will hold court. Sometimes we call it hold court in the streets. That's where it mostly starts. Right? For the most part. Now, what you want to do, if I was in Frank Ruiz's system, in Jesse B. Richardson class, most definitely. Grandmaster Herbie Thompson never made me do this. But Jesse B. Richardson, Grandmaster, Master Jesse B. Richardson, about 8th Dan. Last time I checked. Don't quote me on that. Permission to enter the floor, Sensei. If granted permission, we enter the center. That's it, Sensei. Right? However you want to do that. Got different ways we do that. Right? Stand ramrod still. I'm doing this because it is. I'm trying to stay in the frame, so I would be wider than this. We must always stay in the spirit, fighting spirit of Nishigo-ju Karate. We should always practice patience. We should always practice courtesy. We should be quick to seize opportunity. Nothing is impossible. We should always be aware. Now I come back. Slight cursing in the head bow. I'm back in Cashapp. That's if he asks for the virtuals, the nacho. Virtuals. And I'm doing this because I'm doing it as if I'm with my senior, senpai, and Kohei and whatever, alumni. Sometimes we just have something to say. Sometimes we have something to show. This will only be illustrated with words. There's not much to see. And I'm not going into detail about what the person did, who the person is. Just know that should have been the Canelo fight night. Bud and Canelo. Crawford and Canelo. But Alvarez and Crawford. Now, so that's kind of hard to step that thing down. Kind of hard to curtail that anger because it's something juicy. I'm missing out. I'm missing out on life. You're dragging out. It's a corporate situation. And this is very important to listen to, especially young people. But it's for everybody. Many times it's even harder to curtail that anger when you know it's intentional. When you know the tort is intentional. You can try me. And he's doing it in such a way where the damage, you know, it's a big deal. You're talking treble damages. So not only is it intentional, and you know this, the damages are far-reaching. I could have even lost my life. You got elements of that in there. I'm not going to talk about the details. So now, the main point is to remind you, like Asher Moran, even though we have rehearsed this mentally, we've been there before, matter of fact, in this situation, when you're in the heat of the moment, you can't run out of patience. You can't say, well, I was patient enough this time. No. If you're not in danger, somebody grabbing your head, grabbing your hair, you got to have, grab your ears, grab your cranial, grab your shoulders, might wrap the shoulders, they might wrap around here, right? The neck. If this not going on, he might shoot or pick you up like this, one hand going over here, one hand through here. Now, if that's not going on, if he's taking some merchandise of yours and you feel it's safe for you to say, hey, now, because that's you too. You might want to gamble and separate them from your merchandise. But other than that, and other people too, we call breakup fights, and you can do that. But just because you are angry and this person is doing something that should possibly at this point end up in civil court, maybe criminal court, well, that's where it should end up. That's where the fight should go. Your fight now is how to find out how to file properly a civil suit. Properly is a way. It's a way to do it without a lawyer. And if you get a lawyer, certain things you don't know about. That when you try to do it, I mentioned Braithwaite the other day, Clean Deal Services and SB Holdings, Sylvester Braithwaite Holdings. I found out some more stuff about law. Attorneys at law, esquires, just trying to file that job downtown so they can go subpoena the principal parties and the agent, let them know you got a lawsuit against you and there's a court date. I found that out. That's a battle. They used to always tell us when we was young, they feared the intelligent person in full life. Pardon me, Moors, Islam Moors. The intelligent soul, individual soul that feels this spacesuit here. Arm, leg, arm, head. So when they find out you can do all this without the bar and the bench, they start getting very, very bureaucratic. A lot of red tape. Everything got to be just right and exact. That's why a lot of Moors locked up now. paperwork, a misspelled word, a misplaced phrase, whatever, using language that was fed to us. You know, you might be a straight A student, might be B student, something like that. High C. Very intelligent, right? Intelligent beyond the grades you made in school. The grades don't even reflect your level of intelligence. But we've been trapped and tricked and force-fed vocabulary words, phrases, ideas, ideology. So we get up in there with that democratic, you know, we get up in there, I got constitutional rights, if we can say that much. We get up in there with this black racism, schismata, and we're talking about everything but the true issue at hand. There are three main issues at law: identity, status, jurisdiction. Adjudication at number 4 is not as important as identity. Your identity, the judge's identity, who probably more than likely is a magistrate. Where's the consular court? I have no fiduciary obligation to this courtroom and these courtroom players. We have to learn how to get into that. But now, back to the subject, the main subject. It's about anger. I'm gonna share this because it's long overdue. And I don't go with Minister Anthony Durden, the Circle of Brotherhood, Brother Benjamin from American Muslim Mission, Masjid al-Ansar. I don't go to the prisons with these brothers. You know, and I'm here in South Florida. I feel like the ninja should have walked up to me, took a class before he took his ass to jail. See? Learn some OGYs. I've been advertising this on Facebook, and these people been trolling my pages, giggling in public. I'm working out in the gym. They want to roll a little dumbbell underneath my heel so I could slip and break my neck. They laugh. He was in there acting like he a ninja. Now your ass in jail. Do the time. Don't let the time do you. Dumbass. You should have listened to your goddamn mama, your daddy, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your reverends, your pastors, your teachers, and your coaches. Your neighbors. You got OGs around you. I ain't the only nigga out here doing this. I really open my mouth. You need to learn to listen to somebody. Do what you're supposed to be doing. You know in your heart you're supposed to be doing. Trying to be cute for the girls. They ain't hardly going to jail like that. And even so, you ain't going there with them. You're going to be in there with a bunch of hard legs. And boy, when you get in there, it's going to be a dude with his shoulder shank this big. From here to here, going to be like this passageway here. They're going to be taller than this roof up here. Big thighs going like a tree. You better hope he heterosexual. They ain't one of them dogs. Pippin Iceberg Slim talking about them dogs. Iceberg Slim called it Uzi. They used to rape white boys back in the day. In the 20s and 30s and 40s. They used to rape because they was caught up in that prisoner of war camp misinformation about what happened to us over here. In so-called North America. Northgate, Midgard. They lied. They didn't tell the truth. If they told the truth, they might as well stop the fraud that they doing. So they lied about what happened. So we grew up hating white people. White people hate us. Don't nobody like the Asian. That's Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan. That's because the prisoner of war camp, AKA public school, and even university, full of lies and misinformation. Divide and conquer. So now, when we were small, this would make me think about this post as gearing it toward the youth. Dude used to be there like this. One of the dudes on the playground, like Tony Elementary, Columbia, somewhere. He's a neutral party, and you got party A and party B. They beefing, but it's full of jaw jacking. Oh, what you gonna do? Hey, now, what you gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing. You can roll your eyes, stomp your feet. That's bad, but you stole won't beat. Blah 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 blah. They back and forth. Ninjas want to see a fight. The other neutral parties. Ninja dudes like draw a line in the sand. So anybody cross that line, that means he want to fight. So whoever crossed that line, he take the risk of somebody, because he just crossed the line. Because the other person can't let you cross the line and then pop, because you might take off. They too proud, both parties too proud, indignant, to say, well, let me just get away from the line. Go over here by the teacher. Go over here by the coach, the PE coach. They're standing there like, I ain't gonna start it if they don't start it, but I can stand how old I want. So dude might say, cross that line. Then you got the same scenario, lots of talk, lots of slick rap, ugly faces, sex faces, F-U-C-K faces. You might say, baddest man hit my hand. Whoever hit that, he hit the hand, he hit you. He just hit you. See, this type of stuff. You had somebody push one from the back gets pushed up. Try to start it like that. Well, neutral party just pushed me to him. He might just go to wallet. Right? So now, I thought about this. Because this is how elementary adults, preteens, teenagers, and old, raggedy, crippled senior citizens still got that schoolyard mentality that's not even fit for the schoolyard. That's for kids. A kid is a baby goat. A child born to somebody that looks like this, and his mother got these things hanging here and had an umbilical cord coming out there connected to his belly. A child is not a kid. You take a kid into the house, it's gonna tear up everything. It's gonna eat up everything. Might well throw a hog in there with it. A child is a young god or goddess being raised to the level of a god or goddess. Good got good, high German. What should be pouring forth in deed, in word, is refined ideology, communication, and interaction. We are taught how to behave from this size here. Sometimes the baby, mama holding, especially mama holding the baby, and somebody try to do something to mama, baby is, and push off their mama like, that's my mama. And snuggle all up under mama like that. Won't share none of this embrace and this warmth and this motherhood with nobody. That's the baby. Sometimes the one right next to the baby that's older will be jealous of the baby. Hit the baby aside. Don't hit that baby in the head like that. Now soon, by the time we're 2.5, 2.25, we should be out of that. If you got some good parenting, that terrible 2 should last about 3 months. It might take 6. Probably kind of hard-headed, right? Might be 9. By the time that sucker 3, and show me where they do that. Me, Winnie, and Jimmy, they had me around people like Mother Wallace, Virgin, my grandmother, maternal, my paternal grandmother. Pat is father, Max is mother. Maternal, paternal. Auntie Connie. Her sisters, Irma Rose, Merlene, right? People like this. Person like me, I'm already gifted with the inclination to just key in on the fact that this is for me. What they doing it for me. They're not bullying up on me. They're not picking on me. They're trying to show me to be more like these men I idolize. And some of the women I admire the quality. They can cook, they can clean, they can sew, they can paint, they can draw. I'm looking, learning. Trying to get better at the things I see the people around me do. So most of the directives I heard around me personally, I didn't grow up as a child being abused, physically, sexually, verbally, none of that, right? A little too roughness on the older guys, but there was boys. That happens. And I'm very athletic, so I'm cool with that, right? But other than that, especially with this here, this causes a lot of problems. Basic instruction before leaving the earth, they taught us common courtesy. The Ganacha, I just told the Ganacha. I will always practice courtesy. I will always practice patience. Here's an example of courtesy. You had some household, the adults, a lot of times the women, they wouldn't let you clean up nothing. You just sit there and you chill. You need something to drink? You need something to eat? You need to use the bathroom. Sometimes they won't even make you wipe the seat, but they say, wash your hands. And they let you know where you can dry your hands off at. Because sometimes a guest towel is not a guest towel, it's a display towel, it's a show towel. They'll tell you. And that's all you gotta do. Some of them you gotta take your shoes off as soon as you come to the door. It's a long row of shoes over there, they're not picking on you. You take it off the door, you go inside. Right? Now, sometimes they'll make you clean up behind yourself in the bathroom. They'll tell you, have a sign there. Please be a sweetie and write the seat. If you tinkle when you sprinkle, blase. Right? Some households, we would have chores. And you do what you do. In some households, that was it. You do your chore. Mine was the bathroom. In my mother's household, mine was the bathroom. We had two at the time. She assigned me the bathroom. All I had to do was do the bathroom. The last thing anybody want to do, but the main thing you want to be done when it's your turn to go in there. I'm good. No, just now I gotta wash up after I finish. Should have been taking bath. Bullshit. Now, after I finish. So now, some household, whether you're a guest or it's not your chore, you don't walk past something on the floor and say, I ain't do that. That ain't mine. They said, don't worry about who did it. You see it, you pick it up. Get that garbage up off the ground and throw that garbage away. So you don't walk past Sister Kai, may Allah be pleased with her life service. Sister Kyria, hawtyyyReddd mama, right? She'll have you picking up the whole off the carpet. Big old living room. Anything you see that ain't carpet. It's a lot like picking beans in the field. Very tedious, and it get to that back real quick. Get them glues to that back real quick. So these things are preparing you to be the man or the woman that you need to be. And soon you're gonna have some children that you're gonna wish, first of all, they were somebody else. And my mama know how to handle that. My grandma, matter of fact, you're gonna start sounding just like your mama and your grandmama and your granddad, all of them. The ones you hate the most. Once the child start doing certain things, you're gonna sound like the one get on your nerve the most. Because a lot of times, that's why they were doing it. Because you was out of pocket. Right? So, saying all this to say, common courtesy. Have patience with people that'll leave stuff strewn out like that. Instead of wasting energy, starting a fight, go find who did it, you just pick it up. Boy, how easy was that? and the camaraderie, the energy in the home is peace. Because as you start getting older, what's going to happen is the grown people going to start checking you even though you right. They'll say something, you shut up. You the same way. Yo, shut up, get over that. They come in there with that type of stuff. And you think you're going to outgrow that? You're going to be like me. And some of these other people around here going to be 20, 30, 40. With the right intention, talking to somebody's child, and their parent might kill you. Might kill you for telling their child the right thing. I got a partner they call the motorcycle man. The name is Greg. He came to in my life by way of juvenile and foster care. He was just coming out of juvenile detention, if I'm not mistaken. Not too many years out of juvenile. He wasn't that much older than me, so he probably had got out of juvenile because I was young. He's just a few years older than me. And he was like foster care or adopted. And the Richardson family took him in. I guess he was their foster child with her for a while. His name is Greg. Everybody fell in love with Greg. Everybody loved Greg. Greg was a very likable person. He's very talkative. So Greg used to tell a lot of stories about juvenile detention. And he had a lot of things to say about acting right behavior, da-da-da-da-da. Very good person. He grew up to be among many other things, because he was in the DJ crowd. I was telling you about Baby Boy, Triple M and all them, Pure Funk and all them. He was back in the Zeus days. If anybody know, you know. Back in Zeus days. Right? Not the amp, not the Zeus amp, the person. Zeus. Right? So you know about Miami Style DJ and all that kind of stuff too. One of the first early hip-hoppers, quote-unquote hip-hop, you know about Electric Boogaloo and all that stuff. Way back. Popping and locking and stuff. Greg. His son had some friends that he was toward them a lot like he was toward us. So he was like a surrogate father, whatever, neighborhood dad. And they knew him well, then they was friends with his son. And they had an issue about, I think they was selling shoes or something. Like brand new shoes or something like that. Buy and sell, something they was doing. But they had a falling out. So Greg was talking to all of them, even his son. He was like, man, y'all friends. Y'all gonna be back friends again. Why do something that you'll regret for the rest of your life to a friend? You gotta make up with him. He talking like that. He ain't taking no sides. One of them guys killed him. I don't think they father was one of the young guys. Just shot him to death. Now, from that day, a little bit later that day, he gonna get handcuffed. The cold cuffs can be on your wrist. Sometimes they be real tight. You might have to sit in the back of the car like this, and the very cuff might be cut into your wrist. From that point to right now, he regrets that. That person regrets that. He not only took his friend's father, he took one of his own fathers. Crossed a whole lot of things. Stepped on a lot of toes too. And he going somewhere with player. I don't care who rallies around you. I don't care what gang you join. A lot of blood, People Nation blood, a lot of time they got UBN. That's who Tekashi 69 flipped on. Some UBN guys. Sometimes blood or grow somewhere, whether inside or out, by meeting blood from other sets. But they're in a situation like out of town, incarceration, where they need to bind together. So they'll G-check, find if he false flag or whatever, if he real right, in a blood case, bum, bum, bum. So to formalize that, they came up with United Blood Nation. If I'm not saying that wrong. That's under People Nation. Right? Almighty Black Peace Stone. So these things are very misleading. For that case, Tekashi 69 case, for example. You had niggas with names like Murder. Nigga name was Jamal or something like that, da-da-da-da. But now, maybe not the ones in that particular indictment. Maybe, I forget. I'm kind of cloudy on that. But definitely, if he go in there, everybody ain't your friend. Don't nobody owe you nothing. An oath, the United States have broken every treaty made with any de jure nation ever. They have never honored any treaty. They barely honored the treaty of 1787, 1786, Treaty of Peace and Friendship. They say it's the only unbroken treaty. They claim that. I can't tell. Now, you are not guaranteed these dudes gonna ride for you if you become incarcerated. You're not guaranteed you will live long enough to get shackled and go down to be fingerprinted. You might get a tag on your toe. Might be a John Doe. Might never even show up. Turn up missing. All behind one day, for a minute, I don't want to act like I got the good sense God gave me. That's why we were so hard. We are so hard on ones like this, because we know you got it. We watching you. You know how to act when you want that cookie, when you want that slice of cake, when you want that candy. We see the phoniness in your behind when you 2 and 3 and 4. We see right through you. And a lot of us don't grow out of that. And the parent worry a lot. That's why a lot of times they kind of baby certain one. They worry for this one, and that one, and the other. Because they see through. They flaw as fuck. Somebody kill you for that. Somebody hurt you bad for that. You'll go to jail for that. You'll lose out. You'll lose good potential business partners. If you have a business partner, you'll lose them because you have ways you will not get yourself out of. Ain't nobody put that on you. You doing that. You think you slick. You think you got game. A square can see through that. You got squares pinning. A lot of street people ain't nothing but squares in the damn street. Need to go to school, need to get a job. Can't even run the game on the square. Cause you really more square than you act like and portray to be, trying to cover up the fact you was a green ass square. Trying to put on a persona to fool somebody. Then make the biggest mistake when they got a little leadership quality and try to get a gang of flunkies. When you know you this type of person and you start having 5 or more, 4 or more people that kind of like yes men to you, you better be very afraid for yourself. Because the jailhouse and the grave full of that type of Negro, niggeress, niggeria, negus is an emperor, N-E-G-U-S. If you want to use the English language, in the English alphabeto, N-E-G-U-S is an emperor. You're very foolish. If you a lead man, a ringleader, they might call you just that and put you right here on and down here at the bottom row, 1,000 and everyone they see you be Jesus Christ on the cross. You will go down for everyone they see. You will die. You'll get a death row for their sins. All they gotta do is Judas Iscariot for a few pieces of silver for freedom outside of incarceration. The one who need to speak up for you, he'll deny you like Peter, the Apostle Peter, denied Jesus. And Jesus told him, Emmanuel, Yahshua, he said, you will deny me before the cock can crow 3 times in the morning. You will deny me. So those who show up in court for you, like Emmett Wilson Jr., should have brought it sorry behind the court for me with Officer William behind. Lying behind. And the magistrate that stood over that trial, he should have been there when Rothenberg stood in for the Arthur hearing. So Peter, the Apostle Peter, he betrayed Jesus by denying Jesus. Judas Iscariot, he betrayed Jesus, Yahshua, another way. I forget how. But Judas is the one usually we say, oh, you a Judas, you a Judas. But Peter also failed him because he wouldn't speak up for in favor of the Christ, Messiah they call it. Yahshua, Emmanuel. Some people say that's really ISIS. And that's really not a story. It's allegory. As you want to go into esoteric, right? You want to go into that. And be a Gnosis. Gnosis and faith, those are two opposing things. Faith is belief. I don't have enough information to know, but I believe because I'm convinced based on the information I have. That's a belief. And hypothesis, right? An educated guess, many scientists start off, they got a hunch. They come up with a hypothesis. I believe E equals MC squared or something like that. I believe I could take these two magnets and flip it to negative, positive. Also, we have a series of experiments based on what we do know. And we go through these processes, right? Sometimes we might have a controlled experiment. That's something to compare and contrast with. Controlled over here, then you got the experiment over there. You go into a Gnosis, we want to know something. We need this for engineering, technology, all sciences, mathematics, numbers, calculation, measurements. We need to be as right and exact as possible so that these things we are making don't fail us and hurt us. A lot of planes are going down. A lot of boats are capsized right now these days. A lot of things are not working properly. They got the Tesla-like car, something like that, that drive by itself, robotic, end up blowing up or running off and causing people to die. So instead of all this fighting your partner, you two need to get together and come up with to patent something, engineer something, so when you go on a Carnival cruise, Norwegian cruise or something, that boat don't capsize on y'all because y'all the one who engineered that job that's down there making that thing stay afloat, not explode, not go off course into the hurricane or something like that. Go off in the Bermuda Triangle, never be found again. Use that anger. Like I told you, dude had me angry. I grabbed the pen and I wrote poetry and prose into a rap form. That's one of the first rhymes I wrote sounding like myself. See, we had Poisonous Freestyle, I think it is. Poison Clan, Tony Rock, Brother Marquise for the 2 Live Group, Tony MF Rock, right? See Tony Rock make a microphone check, now see him on stage breaking the sucker nigga's neck. Yeah, I think that's the one. They'd rather have some, use a knucklehead. Boom, bum, boom, boom, bum. JT Money on there, Debonair, Tony Rock, Tony MF Rock, and Brother Marquis, may Allah be pleased with a life service. And they was talking about faking like you from somewhere, especially New York. Because everybody was trying to break into the industry. Like I told you, that's our backstory. New Yorkers wouldn't share trade secrets. They wouldn't even let you couldn't get around them. Niggas was over there, B-boy stands, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Kangos or whatever, Cazelli's, nameplate, you know, fresh kicks, fat laces, you know, you trying to come around, but boo, we already like extend the olive branch. You in our town. They got chip on their shoulder, nose in the air, stuck up, smelling their own boogie. So to infiltrate that, to get to the trade and get to the network, the business network with a woo-woo, so you can be the star you know you can be, scratching and mixing, cutting and scratching, producing, rocking the mic, the microphone, that hooks up into the amp and all that, you know, with the wire, FCC regulated, you know, something like that. With the real microphone. Now, there's a lot of stuff coming out about you guys out there. Rocking the mic. They say, Kanye, you thought Kanye can rock the mic. Jesus walk. He ought to be saying it. But Jesus did supposedly die on the cross of the Calvary for his sin. Whoa, you better hope so. So now, anger. You got anger management. Don't wait till the court force you to take a class with your probation, community control, your house arrest, click, click, with your little anklet on, girl, child. What's that, black onyx? Very unfashionable. You call the fashion police. Very unfashionable. You want to be free. Not like this. Shaka right here, shaka right there is connected, so I can't stand up and slap the deputy and the marshal movement taking me from facility to facility. Had to get on a van, a Bluebird. Might have to ride in a rental car, some police squad car, something, and they gotta come take me. They know they be having shanks and all kind of stuff in there. You can get a cell phone in jail, you can get a gun too. And how you like this here, man? For real. You been a small cell, flooring Supermax. I'd rather, if I gotta choose, they gonna do me like Mumir Abu Jamal, H. Rap Brown, AKA Jeff Double F Fort. Like holding down the fort, Angel Bay, Chief Malik, King David Boxdale. Now we getting up. King Larry Hoover, for the right reasons. Too many Black Panthers to name. If they didn't kill him, put him in insane asylum, we locked him up. Our matriarch, Joanne Chesimard, is her slave name, her government name. I tried to say her name and she like, Mtulu Shakur, Asada. That's Tupac Shakur's mother's like close relative or friend. Afeni, with her wonderful behind self, she left us to me. Allah be pleased with her life service. She has gone on record for defending X amount of Panthers, being herself erudite. I say erudite because it sounds like a grand shape. Erudite, self-taught, maybe some university college, but you if anybody, if you know, you know. You gotta do your outside reading. She defended them using state statute, maybe all law, supreme law of the land. That might be a secret, one of the best kept secrets. She might have came in there. Your Honor, what is your status? And I don't know. With a pink fez on, 360-degree time. I don't know. But they probably tell us that part. But she defended X amount of Panthers in court. While we on that, some of these posts is talking about how the Slauson Street gang / Renegades, Al Prentice Punchy Carter and John Huggins, I'm not mistaken there, Geronimo Pratt, Elaine Brown. You had Mr. Dr. Karinga, I think. He was younger. Oh, man. Claude. not Musa, Claude. Forget his last name. Claude, supposed to be the gunman. Right? You had the Steiner brothers, George and Larry. And Donald Hawkins, I think, was legit. Yeah, he was like, wow. So I got some of that down there in the when you look at the title and it say more. I ain't put too much in the comment section. Look for the title and it say more right there. Bump, it opens up. So I'm putting a lot of information down there because I don't have my notes. I don't have my books. I told you, the attacks are real. Every time I get myself to some type of independence and I got my little library and I got this, I got a lot of stuff. I got stuff from Grandmaster Herbie Thompson, Grandmaster Jesse B. Richardson, Professor Jerry Dixon, that type of manuals and whatnot. Like Shaolin, like grade level stuff. All that's gone. Islam, Clock of Destiny, all that. Them books you can get from rvbaypublications.com. I used to advertise that all the time. I don't run that. I don't even know these people personally. I'm strictly online. All that type of stuff, I don't have it. And the attacks are against me because mainly, especially that, as I told you, I'm coming out the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam primes you up to go to the front door and knock politely and know how to act when you're invited inside. The Moorish Science Temple. I got some quotes from Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. I told you, I'm not finished quoting that because he has that big quote I always reference that I don't like, that he always referenced, quoting direct quote from the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. And I hate to even paraphrase. I want to say exactly what he says and then tell you why I argue with that, because we are living in a different time. 1923, 1928, no. If you look at your school books and go to somebody who graduated in the mid-80s and try to get a hold of their textbooks and look and see revised edition, they've been dumbing us down the whole time because they messed up and realized for what they trying to do, the venal policy, they've been giving us too much information in the prison of war camps, aka public school, college, university. So they've been revising each edition almost every year. Every 2-3 years, one of the main things they took out was civics. They took a lot of trades out of school. Right? They still had trades in school when they knocked Big Ike off. 1987. Ike messed them up so bad with at least 32 properties. We ain't talking about no sugar shacks either. No shanty. No favela shit. We talking about this Miami, South Florida. We talking beachfront property, that type of stuff. Mansion, that type of stuff. He messed them up so bad. He was in construction. Trade Smith. He had craft. He could do masonry, carpentry, glasswork, you name it, plumbing, electrical. He could do all that stuff. He couldn't do it. He knew to hire the right person. People like Woodrow King. May Allah be pleased with life service. Woodrow King passed away. Woodrow King. Woodrow King was so bad he had tractors and backhoes in his yard. Over there like in the Brownsville area. Right? I think he older than my father. My father was born in 1936. I think he older than him. Now, when they realized how much we got them here, them Cretans and the minions that are under them, the ones behind them, that Black Hand, Chief Rod Pontiac, like we've been building on Black Hand a lot lately. Rod Hayes, check him out on Young L TV, Young Elder TV. He's here and there, but I can only remember Young L. I've been riding out with Young L for a while. Now, more so than the others. Sometimes Dr. G, House of Reawakening Mind. Sometimes she have Chief Rod on there, Rod Pontiac. Sick 8. I said his I said his thing wrong for Cashapp. It's $, then it's an S. I thought the dollar sign and the S was one and the same. It's a $, capital SIKAPE. Play around with that. And I say you can send him like $1 if you ain't got that much money, just to get the lines of communication open so he can put you in his Rolodex, in his contacts, in his phone, and know who you are, and you start hitting him up with them questions. He might, if you got intelligent questions, that might be some of the main stuff he talk about on his next platform. Intelligent questions. We need intelligent questions. You get the Grand Shake. I know that traffic ticket is serious. In Florida, I don't know about the United States as a whole, but in Florida, now they can lock you up for going over 100 miles or better per hour, or over 100 miles. That's a felony. They can lock you up then. You got to bond out. So we talk about traffic tickets, right? Motor conveyance versus travel, state person, statutory person, blase. And we talk about quick claim deed versus mortgage and blah, blah, blah. Don't start me the line. But let's talk about those vouchers. The art of war, city under siege, foreign colonial European military occupation. They are responsible for handing out vouchers, much like they give basically to the immigrants under the Biden administration. They brought immigrants, they picked them up at the airport. They gave them money. They had a place to stay. Mind you, it has been since the Clinton administration, most definitely. And even Bush seniors, not Junior, not the Twin Tower Bush, but Bush Senior. We're going further back to around the time Deion Sanders first started playing for the Falcons, and they way back. Bush Senior. We've been having a problem with people who don't need green cards here. Their parents might be from overseas, the Eastern Hemisphere, the Caribbean, up with Canada somewhere, South America, Central America, but the individual, back in the 80s and the 90s, in early 2000s, you couldn't deport them because they was born here or whatever. So don't get this twisted. I was talking to Jean, right? ICN, elder, female, ICN. I say no. Why I don't like the immigration situation? We supposed to still have land, first of all. Land can't be sold. But I'm not talking about from a nationality standpoint, divine and national. We talking about the educated Negro was mistaken and thought they had to purchase land. They did that. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, places like that. Redwood, I think that's in Florida. I think I'm saying that right. Redwood. Rosewood. Those examples. Oscarville, where Lake Lanier is now. They flooded out intentionally. Oscarville. Thriving towns where you had people post-colonial built up communities. And when you're dealing with us, anybody could be with us. White, Asian, so-called white, so-called Asian. We don't do the bigotry. We don't do the racism for the collective. Right? You get chewed out for that. So we the quickest one to mix race. Plus on the low, secretly, they trying to do they doing reverse psychology anyway. They know they need us to mix race. To continue theirs. Because they're hybrids. That hybrid, what you call white supremacy, it can't last as is, because what's going to happen is what did happen among the white supremacists. Can't even produce children. The male. After a while. And you shouldn't. Because that small community, after a while, that's family. That's inbreeding, incest. You don't do that. You want a healthy human being, you have to do breeding. the slave narrative was told in reverse. A lot of times we were sent overseas for breeding purposes. A lot of them came over here for breeding purposes to keep the seed, our seed, flesh and blood, the best prime. No mental retardation, no physical retardation, because we're not inbreeding. Now, we had GMO'd us. Them cars was coming off. That's why I was telling her. She know Madillac. She know about James O. She know about Ganu. She know about Fafa. Cause her little ones be talking around her, and then some of the old adults talking. They shit from my neighborhood. So I say, you know, why they what car they went and got when they got money? ICNs are known to be some of the most penny wise amongst all nationalities. They're like Asians and the bar mitzvahs, right? The ADLs, the benign breaths, the benign breaths. They're very, very savvy economically to as far as their intelligence can take them. If they know, they will apply. So when these young guys got new James O, when they got their money, they jumped on a 1960 something, 70 something. And the don't technically is a 60 something to like 76. From 76 to like 60 something. That's a technically that's a don't. We do whatever, but if you want to say don't technically, it's 60 something to like 76. Right? So 77 and on up. You can fix it up, you can trick it out, it's not a don't. You can do dumb stuff to it, it's still not a don't. Right? You can race a don't. It's not a don't. You can beat a donk in the race, it's still not a don't. Seriously, we had tasty cake factories like this, where an illiterate person who doesn't know how to read and write English or Spanish or whatever can drop out of elementary or middle school and still take care of a 17-member family that's still growing. Raise children, send them to college, pay their tuition and all that, working in a factory, doing odd jobs. Because you probably know about mechanic, car mechanic, all that kind of stuff. They took those factories and outsourced. A lot in Singapore, Thailand, right? Vietnam and all these places where we went for the U.S. military complex to fight their war because it wasn't ours. Lost our lives, lost our loved ones. We come back, you take our job. When you deprogram us, supposedly, you take my job, my livelihood, and send it to an enemy country. And now, on top of that, they make shoddy material. Ours was built, right now you can put a Chevy on the street. Obama did that. Cash for clunkers. Cash for clunkers. Because what happened, I'm going to tell you what happened. A lot of females, they'll buy a new car. They like the lease. It's 2025. They want a 2025, 24, 23, 22. Right? And lease it. And let the company do all that, the tune up and all that stuff, the flat. They'll take it to the company. I don't need no man crowd I'm talking about. They'll take it to the company they lease it from. The dudes, the one got sense. A lot of dudes that's not squares, that's not caught up in school and job and juggling and all that and family, unemployed, entrepreneur nigga, we was the main ones with them so-called clunkers. Obama, who came before Obama? Bush Jr., Clinton, and Hillary and Bill, and Bush Sr., right? Coming all the way down from J. Edgar Hoover, him too, Lyndon B. Johnson, Nixon, Ford, you know them, Carter, Reagan, Bush, Bill and Hillary Clinton. and on, they was locking us up. That's why the clunker is out there. Because the man who owns it is in jail. 100-to-1 ratio. Liberty Bell versus talcum powder. You get caught with something that look like talcum powder, okay. You do 1. You get caught with something looking like a Liberty Bell, right? You do 100, right? No, I got it in reverse. You need 100 GMs of talcum to equal 1 GM of Liberty Bell. Guess who got Liberty Bell mostly and more likely gonna get caught with it? Profile, illegal search. LL Cool J got illegal search. Keep on searching. You gotta keep on searching. Illegal search, violating preliminary law, procedural law, things a lot of us don't even know about. We going right into adjudication. We definitely don't know El Shaban. We definitely don't know that. How to X-rail and all that. With the red fit, Kango, L, yeah, we don't know all that. So now, cash for clunkers. But why were we dealing with the 1960, 50, 40s and all that? Might say a T-model Ford out there if you can find it, right? In 70-something car, and nothing later like an 81, 82, 83, something like that. Big body. I can run into something hard as steel. Boom, concrete. Don't even put a dent, don't even scratch the paint. The grill's still pretty. That's what. Then let's talk about the engine. Poison Clan, JC Money got a song about he talk about what's under that hood. I'm trying to remember the title. But he talking about people who want to pay, they want the paint, they want the rims and the tires and the upholstery. We call them guts. The inside, interior, guts. The feet, that's the wheels. The lick, that's the paint. I might say that again. Now you know. Even get down. The sound system. But what's up under the hood? Right? We had GM Motors American made. When it was American made, the whole world knew it. Japan and China was in competition against us for a longer time with them Subarus and all that shiznit a lot of us didn't want. You go to old show like Happy Day, Fonzarelli and all them. Well, they American made stuff. I think Harley was American made at first. You know, you got the choppers, all American made stuff. If not, take that out. But if it is, that's what I'm talking about. So GM Motors and a lot of other people, they took the companies overseas, so now they got our job. Check this out. This around the same time, they start coming down on the families, when they separating the families and children going to child care. Mother go to jail, she ain't careful. If she want public assistance, she can't have a man in the house. If a man in the house, he should be taking care of that household. This the same man, last hired, first fired. What about the heterosexual? A lot of people don't like to talk about this. What about the heterosexual? Just now in 2023, 4-5, you got people like Jaguar Wright, CC, Gene Deal, really giving up the goods on what's going on out here. Corporate America, a lot of times, won't let you stay on the job if you're not a homosexual or bisexual. That's the honest to God truth. A lot of men would not admit that for years and years. I was the only one to my closest road dogs tell them exactly what it was when I got fired from McDonald's on 62nd by Edison High. When I left off from Wendy's on Counter Road by Eastwick and I Interstate 20. Before they take me to Georgia Regional, Jackson Crisis, New Horizons, somewhere say I'm cause how I fucked this motherfucker up about my right to be a heterosexual, I'm a step. And money was out there back then anyway. They ain't said nothing, and there's plenty of jobs. And little did I know, most of my life is gonna be like this. So now, they got our jobs. They taking the trades out of school, like I told you, and out of incarceration. Some liars came up, public relations liars, on behalf of legislature, and said the constituents, the Democrats and the Republicans, are complaining because we're spending government taxpayers on jailbirds, and they're getting college educations. Man, I had to pay for my child to go to college. He commits a crime, he can kill somebody, and he can go get 5 degrees, and within 5 years, it's not fair. We get food, clothing, shelter, and now he's getting a degree. And so they took it out of incarceration, knowing that's exactly, they finna build a pipeline straight to prison. Like some fire in your butt, and you're gonna run right through it. And run right up in there. They got all the popular music and started infusing lyrics and scenarios that'll cause chaos out here. The R&B, that's why JT Money, Poison Clan rap like they rap. Cause you don't have the proper filtration system here. Listen to that R&B, you'll do anything, you that much in love, that you gonna step to a dude. That's why JT don't get gangster. He's showing you flunkies, a lot of time that ringleader, that's why he don't like such and such. That's why he wanna rob, that's why he wanna do this and that. Probably ain't even that much money there. He just wanna get that person hurt, cause that person dealing with a female like Peaches. Strong, Will, some Miami boys, some Atlanta guys fell out over Peaches. Tech Wood said, Alpha Omega, the one with Hustle Gang, T.I., recently, he's on the post, comment section, right? Comment section blowing up. He's on the platform. They talking about how a lot of that stuff didn't start over what the news media said. It was about boy-girl relationships. And the young man not being properly, and the young woman not being properly raised in the area, the science of mating, courting, the science of mating, business and warfare. Many of those famous disputes, when you found out what happened, it was about a girl that they arguing over trying to show out for. It had nothing to do with Schedule 1 and 2 or illicit street you-know-whats. Had nothing to do about turf with zelle, how they say. Why? That's what they say. Well, we was getting along. You listen to Hitman Sammy Sam song? He shouting out Miami boy. That's why he called himself Hitman Sammy Sam. But when we got big, baddest man hit my hand. Pop. That's cash. I'm gonna hit you. I ain't gonna tell you who sent me either. But we close to the action and we know. We close to the action and we know. If not, you're taking a chance. You're just strictly mercenary. Contractor these days. Legally, you can legally contract. You can't be a mercenary legally anymore. That's a contract. Now, we need to channel this aggression. Us male with this testosterone coursing through our veins. Me talking to you like this right now is therapy for me. The 12-step program, the first thing you gotta do is admit it. The problem, is it gambling? Is it drugs? Is it drinking? Is it too much sex? You lying too much? What's wrong? Twelve-step program. Admit it first. Help us help you. So I'm admitting it to the world that I have a problem with anger from time to time, like everybody. Getting it out, that's therapeutic. Getting out to the ethers. Right? Channel that energy, that aggression. I just talked about the Black Panthers, Afeni Shakur, Mthulu, Asada Shakur and them, Tupac Shakur's parents and uncles and aunts and whatnot. You know, Geronimo Pratt, them over there in the West Coast with a bunch of Carter, John Huggins and Lane Brown and them. Just touched on that. Angela Davis. You get down in the section I told you where it says more. And it opens up. I talk about Angela Davis, Webster Moore. They walk down the middle of Slauson Street or something. Might not be Slauson Street. I forgot the street. They walked down the middle. It was only 6. I think I gave a wrong number last time. It was 6 Black Panthers. 200 police. Angela Davis and Webster Moore walked down the middle of the street to make them cease fire on both sides and stop the bloodshed. The police ended up killing Webster Moore, beating him up at a rally, a student rally. They had activism. The students were more active back then. They had rallies for political reasons and lobbyists, and they sit the mayor down like Nipsey Hussle was one of the very few in recent times to do that. And my hypothesis is that they had him killed. Eric Bell, whatever his name was not just acting like that on a whim. I think somebody put some money in his pocket, promised him some favors and whatnot. I think so. Because ain't nobody really took them to task like that since like the 1960s. Nipsey Hussle. And they used one of their main tactics, CIA, FBI, infiltrate. Make it look like them is doing it to each other. They did it with the Panthers. Whoa. O'Neal. William O'Neal. That's how Fred Hampton got knocked off. William O'Neal was key to that. But he was an infiltrator, faking like a Panther. But like I say, if I'm in there, it's because I try to get y'all more money for y'all food stamps. Better housing for Section 8 and HUD. Because I get with somebody like whoever. They probably don't want me to say their name because I know there's a lot of people who talk for the people. Once I started doing it, I guess it's the way I do it, they start shying away from it like they don't see me. Right? So I don't know it just out of fear for them. If I was scared, I wouldn't be saying none of this shit. Right? Out of fear for them, I guess I won't say their names, but there are some who spoke on our behalf right here in South Florida who love us more than we love ourselves. They don't get paid to do it. They are the ones who see the bigger picture. The more we get on the government, official acting people, acting as government, the players, the less likely somebody come up, put a gun in my face. Somebody murder my child for his Jordans or something. Do something to some loved one or neighbor or friend or even a stranger. Everyone's life is sacred. Blood is sacred and property is sacred. And we have to fight. Strive. Fitna. Fitna is Arabic for striving. Quranic Arabic. Fitna. Transliteration, F-I-T-N-A-H. Fitna. Strive. Jihad. Struggle. Struggle. Everything's a struggle. Your main jihad is yourself. I was talking about earlier. Basic instruction before leaving Earth. The Bible. If you don't follow these basic instructions, right, the next thing you do might be leave this Earth. You may lose your ghost. Give up the ghost. Because you're not paying attention to what you've been taught. You're speeding. Off in the canal. Whether you got a seatbelt on or not, you drown. Why? Because you're not following basic instructions before leaving Earth. More for you. Islam is a favor to you. The root word of Islam is Salam. Peace. Sim. Lam. Mim. Slim. That's the root. Consonant. Sim. That's a consonant, not a beer. Lam. That's a consonant. Mim. That's a consonant. Right? If you give yourself rest, peace, fast, you will slim down and bring peace in this region. This is the Middle East where you need the peace at. Fasting, fruit, vegetable, wholesome. Less likely to have a kidney failure, liver, and all kind of stuff. Stomach ulcers and all that kind of stuff. Right? Your reproductive organs start to working more right. Less likely to have erectile dysfunction, all that. It's peace in the home now. Because this is your first home. Your body is your temple. Don't put warfare in here. Sometimes they make us. They put fluoride in the tap water. The so-called spring water, sometimes they adulterate that. The so-called purified water and whatnot, they adulterate that. You know, the so-called organic, it may not be sprayed with pesticide, but it's probably genetically modified. Right? That which is which was holistic and not genetically modified might be sprayed with pesticide or whatnot, dye. They do all kind of things to what we have to ingest into our body. So that's one of the main things why our studies need to go, because that has a lot to do with our attitude and the way we are carrying ourselves. It's this stuff we put in our body. The food and drug administration. They drugging up the food. Then you got the chemtrail they spraying and all that. All this kind of stuff they do. So now it's more imperative on us. I like to say the onus is on us. We have to do what it takes. And we have to be moved more toward a collective. And like I said in a previous post, a recent post, the state of affairs is going to force this. Some people from my studies, motu proprio, Pope Francis, he says in 2013-14, it was General Ham, Grand Army of the Republic. Toriano Obashango L was like, nah, F them too. He talking in sovereign talk. He is U.S. military personnel though. He has served. But now he's proclaimed and declares his nationality, Toriano Obashango L. You can find him. He's teaching. But I can't argue, I'm just studying. Pope Francis, letter to Obama, 2013, all heads of corporate ordination states. He told Obama, since he was the president of the U.S. Corporation, CEO of the Israeli-based corporation, D.C., Israel, right? Great Britain, Vatican, United States, right? He told him for here is the Grand Army of the Republic. U.S. military complex, sit down. Some of you will be court-martialed. If you read on and on, blase squat. International War Court, blase squat. So it's happening slowly but surely, but you got many people that still have vestiges of power, who have militias and whatnot. Chief Rod spoke on that. You see how I talked about El Chapo's sons that inherited, I think, Jalisco. Don't quote me on that. They got quite a few cartels. I think it's Jalisco for El Chapo. I'm not sure. I might be mistaken. But they inherited the cartel that El Chapo ran, but now they have turned state witness. And you notice, if you know, you know. You notice, once they announced that they turned state witness, you had Operation Trackside in like Boynton Beach areas. That should be still Broward or Palm Beach. There might be Palm Beach there, if not Broward. Boynton Beach area, Operation Trackside. See, stuff like that start happening. Yeah. So we want to prepare ourselves for receiving just what we prayed for. Jesus Christ, whoever you believe God is, because it is happening. So whoever right about who God is, Buddha, whoever, Guan Yu, whoever is the one to give the credit to. Alhamdulillah. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. You ask me. With great gifts come great responsibility. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Don't be a push button. Do not be a push button. I'm signing off, all right? I'm out of here. Islam Moors. That's it.